Former First Lady Michelle Obama was recently on a podcast where she said that she is terrified of what may come out of the 2024 election. I want to play that clip for you. Watch.
The things that keep me up because you don't have control over them. Mm-hmm. And you wonder, where are we in this? Where are our hearts? What's going to happen in this next election? I am terrified about what could possibly happen.
Me too.
Because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. Mm-hmm. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted.
Does any Democrat have self-awareness?
No, zero. And what Michelle is saying is very true. They speak truth.
It is true.
It's like Satan, 99% true and 1% lie. She is terrified of not having control because the Obamas have control. Mm-hmm. She's terrified of not having control. She's terrified of how it's going to impact her life, not your lives, because if it was about your lives, her friend in the White House, under the direction of her husband, who said he'd like a third term, where he wasn't actually in the White House, would close the border. Not about your life. Their lives are going to get really uncomfortable when Trumpy is in the White House, So no, she's speaking the truth. She is terrified.
Yeah. It's just fascinating because she's like, I mean, it matters who controls the bully pulpit, and it matters who our figurehead is. Yeah, we know, which is why it's a problem that we have a walking vegetable that is apparently controlling the bully pulpit, even though we, of course, know that that's not true.
Yeah. I watched this, and the first thing that pops into my head is she's running. All of a sudden, they're trotting out Michelle Obama, who we haven't seen in a very long time. Yeah. We saw a little bit of Hillary a few months ago. I don't know that she really wants to deal. She wants all the benefits, but she still wants to do her Hollywood stuff. But keep an eye on if she keeps popping up. That's going to terrify me because that means that whoever it is that they're going to, in this little shell game that is running Joe Biden, that they're going to eventually substitute or do whatever games that they're doing, because we know they don't play by any specific sorts of rules, that she could be one of those people, along with Hillary or Gavin Newsom. So I would watch that. But the other part of that interview that terrified me was her admission that she's like, people think that the government doesn't do anything. They do everything. And it's like, that's a problem. And that's the thing that terrifies me. What's going on now terrifies me. What you just said terrifies me. So we're all terrified together, but just not necessarily for the same reason.
Yeah. And so I want to read that whole quote because that's a great point. She said, I'm like, oh my God, does government do everything for us? We cannot take this democracy for granted. And sometimes I worry that we do. No, I don't think that we are angry enough about the control that they have over every single move that we make. That's what I would say. So to your point, Carol, about whether or not she's running, that one fascinates me because I almost wonder if she's just putting the feelers out and dipping her toe in it. Because to your point, Jaco, you kind of have it made when you don't actually have to be the face, but you still are you're pulling the strings and you're controlling things behind the scenes, but you still get to live your life. If it's her and it's her face, she's gonna have to walk away from all of that. And that would be a big step for her. So I wonder if she's dipping her toe in, to your point, Carol, is all right, let me just see what happens. And I can always pull back and not accept it if I don't want it. But maybe I can just, see if people start talking.
Those conversations, yes, I do think there's an element of that. But those conversations are happening behind the scenes with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and those that run the party and the Rockefellers and the Soroses of the world and the financial pundits. And yes, JP Morgan, I wasn't kidding, and Morgan Stanley and Chase. They're having those conversations, I think, daily on, the permutations of what do we do here? And I'm sure they are thinking, and she's probably on her own going, do I want to do this? Because I'm kind of sitting high and mighty here. We're pulling all the purse strings, we're getting all the benefits, and we are not taking any fire, right? But her husband telegraphed it for us. I say, when people tell you who they are, trust them. Sometimes we go, they're just making a joke. No, when Obama said it would be great to have a third term but not actually be the sitting president.
And not only that, it would be historic again. So not only it's a woman president, it's a black woman president. It would, create this thing that if you are a complete narcissist and are involved in your own ego, even though you may not want it, when people start going, well, think about this and think about the accolades and think about your place in history and think about, let's show you the mock-up of the picture of you on the podium.
Yeah.
That can take somebody who's like, well, it's only 4 more years or maybe 8, but whatever it is, I can go back to Hollywood. So I do think there's probably that push-pull with her where she really kind of doesn't want to do it, but people might be in her ear.
But I'll tell you this. You want to see sport? Gavin Newsom will fight her for it.
Oh, he sure will.
It's his God.
Oh, he sure will.
Gavin will fight her for it too. I would love to see a little friction between the Obamas and Gavin Newsom. And by the way, who in the world sits down for an interview like that? What is that guy wearing?
I don't
Gen
know,
Z,
to be
what
honest.
is this Gen Z guy? Get out of your
even know who this guy
pajamas
is.
and wake up, dude. And
Jay Shetty? I've never
what is
heard
he
of him.
wearing in an interview?
With the
Former First Lady.
Former First Lady.
Big Mike. I don't know.
I mean, this is what's wrong with our culture today. There's no self-respect and dignity and etiquette.
I don't know. I'm one who likes a little comfort from time to time. It's after the holidays. Perhaps he ate too much. He needed the elastic pants.
Times and places.
It's not like he's a senator or anything like that. So, we'll give him a little bit of a pass.
That is a
Plus,
great
by
point.
the last time I bashed somebody for wearing, a hoodie, it turned out that they took a red pill and now all of a sudden are awesome. So,
Not so fast. Not so fast. We can't go a guy took a red pill because he's on a single issue. Well, because then there's a whole bunch of them.
I got like 5 things that he's been good on. I'm just saying.
I will give credit where credit is due, and I will bash him where he deserves being bashed, and that is what I will do. But I will say, I do appreciate,
Elastic pants.
I love elastic pants, actually. But I also appreciate the fact that, we're dying over here in our primary on the conservative side.
We are not in good shape.
Everyone's at each other's throats, and it would just be nice to just see the other side go through some of that pain, go through some of that stress, go through some of that discord.
Turmoil.
Because they seem to be united in every single thing, and we just can't get out of our own way long enough to actually come together and create some sort of movement and change. So I'm just rooting for the in-party fighting.
I hear you, but it sort of doesn't matter which one, it's sort of like we spin the top and they all land on the same color.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people thought Joe Biden was going to be a moderate. I mean, are his policies, the rules that are being implemented by his executive branch, any different than what we would have seen from Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren? Absolutely not.
Yeah, you're right.
If you like that clip, there is plenty more where that came from. Click the link in the description below to subscribe to the News and Why It Matters YouTube channel to watch the full episode.